Hello folks, and very warm welcome to another video. Hope this one does find you well. Yes, the old man has joined all the other cool kids, folks. It's an A350, but it's not the A350 that everyone else is flying. This is the other A350, the one we have in X-Plane. This is by the folks at Flight Factor, and this one's been around for yonks. Long time. I want to say 10 years or so. I think it goes back to X-Plane 10. I've had it for most of its life through all of its various updates. We're now flying version 1.7.5 of this aeroplane. Version 2 is apparently in the works and has been for a while. And if version 2 of this aeroplane does actually eventuate, and it's anything like version 2 of the Flight Factor 777, then, well, us simmers, us X-Plane simmers, we're in for a treat. Because that Flight Factor 777 is an absolute beauty. And this aircraft could do with some love. This could be a fantastic aircraft with a bit of work. It is starting to show its age, has been for a while. There's some stuff that never really got finished on it. And, yeah, a little bit of, I don't know, potential unrealised. Is that fair to say? That's, well, whether it's fair or not, I just said it. All of that said, I like the aeroplane. I've had it for a long time. I've flown it a lot in X-Plane 11. I got really good value from it. Complex aircraft to kind of learn for an old man, and that's probably going to come through in today's video because I haven't flown it for a long time. I've never flown it successfully in X-Plane 12, and that's where we're at today. I just couldn't get it to work, but I know other people have, so I'm going to kind of cross my fingers and pray to the simming gods and hope that I too can get it to work on a flight that, well, it's going to be a flight with a bit of a difference. Let me show you the flight plan and explain it to myself, and hopefully in doing so, I explain it to you. Okay, so here we are in little nav map. The flight plan has us departing from Melbourne International, and heading up to Ho Chi Minh City, up here in Vietnam. Now this is, from what I understand, an IRL flight operated by Vietnam Airlines, who have the beautiful livery that we saw in that opening segment. One of my favourite liveries going around. Now, this is a long flight, 7.5 hours worth of flying. I'm going to be upfront with myself and with you, the viewing audience. We are not going to complete this flight as planned. We are not going to end up in Ho Chi Minh City. We're going to end up somewhere else. Now, I haven't exactly determined where that else is, but I'm kind of thinking that it might be a place, just as a clue folks, might be a place that rhymes with Marwin. I'm going to simulate a medical emergency on board, requiring an urgent diversion. And I'm doing this just for the challenge of it, and also because I don't have time to complete this flight as planned. I don't have 7.5 hours up my sleeve to do the flight. Really the purpose of this flight is to sort of reacquaint myself with the aircraft and see if I can actually get it to work in X-Plane 12, and potentially to give the viewing audience a bit of a view as to the alternatives around an A350. Obviously the Innie builds is getting a whole lot of press, positive and negative. They're going to sell an absolute bucket load of those things. If you're interested in X-Plane, and if you've got a bit of a thing for the A350 but haven't yet picked up the Flight Factor, I guess this video might serve a bit of a potentially an educational purpose to you. But yeah, mainly it's just to reacquaint myself with an aeroplane that I have enjoyed over the years, but haven't flown for a long time. So this is maybe a Hangar Queens episode, if I wanted to sort of categorise it for myself. And yeah, I thought I'd add in a challenge. Simulate a medical emergency and end up somewhere other than our planned destination. So stick around to find out whether we do end up in that place that rhymes with Marwin, or potentially end up somewhere else. What I do know is that we're not going to end up in Ho Chi Minh City. How's that for a start to a flight simulation video? Here's the flight plan. We're not going to do it. Only on this channel, folks. Let me get us started and we'll go flying. And here we are at the threshold, runway 16, Melbourne International. Got to say, bloody impressed with... this must be one of the gateway airports, is it? Really nice stock scenery here, folks. It's very Qantas heavy in terms of the liveries that are painted on the parked aeroplanes, but yeah, really well done. Are we good to go, folks? I got to say, I got my fingers crossed here. I don't have a lot of confidence. I tell you what though, what I'm pleased about is I was able to get us to this point, which I have not been able to do previously in X-Plane 12. I wasn't able to get the engine started when I tried this. No, it was a fair while ago now. But I think everything's okay. I don't know why it keeps dinging at me. I'm going to assume that that's the cabin telling me that we're good to go. Dangerous assumption, I know. I think everything's good. We've got flaps, we've got trim. We probably need to deal with some landing lights, which are up here. I'll put the logo lights on, why not? Strobe's on auto. I think everything's good to go. There's nothing flashing at me up there. Let's do it, folks. If you do want to learn how to start an A350 cold and dark, then there are, what, about 13,000 videos out there on YouTube, of which about 12,500 of them have appeared in the last 48 hours. Very experienced guys telling you how to actually operate the A350 properly. This is definitely not a tutorial today, folks. Gently does it here on the turn. Performance in the sim here is holding up alright so far. It used to be a bit of an issue with this aeroplane. Quite heavy on the old performance. So far so good. Not much happening weather-wise. Oh, look at this. That's beautiful stock scenery. Very pleased with that. Alright. So, we've got our speeds plugged in. 154 is our rotate. I think we're good to go. Barrow set, everything good to go. We're flexing. Let's do it. I haven't configured my throttles here at all, so I have no idea what's going to happen. Let's get us into the flex D10. Are we flexing? Should be seeing flex. There it is. SRS runway and all that cool Airbus shit. Away we go, folks. Up to 100 knots. Stop dinging at me. I've got enough on my bloody plate. Here we go, coming up to rotate, folks. About here, let's do it. Bit of back pressure, bit more back pressure. Lots and lots of back pressure. Gee, she feels heavy. There we go. Don't sink. Is that what it's telling me? I don't intend to, champ. Wow, that was heavy on the rotate. Well, they continue to pitch up. We might get Georgie engaged pretty early here as we hit our first waypoint of Horse. So let's do that. Autopilot on. No, that didn't work. Autopilot, this one. Did that work? Good. Be accelerating, shouldn't we? We should, into the climb D10. Thrust climb. Probably shouldn't have gone flaps up, considering what are we doing? We're trending down. Oh, he's flown that terribly. Autopilot's engaged. We're in trouble here. We're going to go through the floor. What's happened here? What have I done wrong? Everything, says my viewing audience. Take an external face. I just want to get away from it. I don't need evidence of how poorly I'm flying. There's Melbourne there, folks. Essendon down there. Melbourne City in the distance. Yeah, it's a bit ordinary here in X-Plane. The scenery. That is a beautiful livery. on a beautiful looking aeroplane, the A350. Safely away, folks, despite my best efforts. And welcome to the first cruise segment, folks. We're at flight level 360, our initial cruising altitude. That's our optimum at this point in the flight. We'll should get to 380 before the flight concludes. At a destination still to be determined, but looking very strongly like a capital of a territory in the north of Australia. Another clue there, folks, in case you need one. I suspect that we're going to have a medical emergency around about 150 miles to the south of that location. That's my gut feel, reading the tea leaves, folks. Jumping, actually no, not jumping inside, let me just admire this for a bit. It's a good looking aeroplane, isn't it? Good looking rooster, the A350. Looks really good in this livery. Now we'll jump inside. There we go, make sure everything's alright. 360, yep, we're all good. Got our temperatures right, 25 degrees. Yep, I was kind of putting them in, putting my virtual packs into sort of a cryogenic state earlier in the flight. I forgot that I had to come up here and actually adjust the temps. Which you can probably drop it just a tad, right in the middle. Probably pretty good. Cargo, I think we're okay. Is that good for cargo? 16, 14 and 16. I don't know what we've got in the hole. That'll do. 23 degrees. Yeah, that's alright. Yeah, everything going quite well. I remember that you could put the you can swap the screens, you know, swap this, what's it called, the OIS, move them between. That's nice. Checklist there. Now we probably should have done the checklist, eh, since we've got it up here. Alt cruise on FMS. So we got alt cruise. We probably did have. That's good enough. Ecam memo, yeah, whatever. Sys pages, yeah, we've reviewed the system pages. Why not? What's our next checklist? Descent prep. Alright, we'll worry about that later. Heading for Broken Hill. BHI is our next waypoint, 114 nautical miles. We've got a westerly breeze, 30 knots. A bit of a headwind component. Just past MIA would be Mildura, I think. Yep, everything going quite well. I guess it's inevitable that there will be some people that kind of want to compare this A350 with the Ini-Builds one. I'm not going to do that. I don't have the Ini-Builds A350, so I can't really compare it. And even if I did, I still don't think I'd compare it. Two different sims. This is an old bird. This is an X-Plane 10 bird. It's got a whole bunch of quality of life updates during its life. Version, what did I say earlier? 1.7 point something. It could do with a sort of a complete overhaul for X-Plane 12, and I think that's what they're doing. Flight Factor. Are they doing it in association with Tollis? Am I remembering correctly? Anyway, version 2 is apparently in the works, but this is what we have right now. And yeah, it's showing its age, you know, texturing and stuff. Not up to modern standards. But for its time, it was pretty bloody impressive, I remember. And I've enjoyed it over the years. I don't fly it very often. Like, seriously, I don't fly it often. It's been a long time since I tried to get this thing working in X-Plane 12, and tried once and then just gave it away. But so far so good. It certainly seems functional enough. It's missing some stuff, and there's probably some stuff that's incorrect, and those of you that are familiar with an A350 will know more than I. I'm hardly an Airbus expert, but for its time it was an impressive beast, and yeah, that's sort of as far as the, well, that's not really a comparison at all. That's not the purpose of the video, folks. The purpose of the video is just to reacquaint myself with the bird, see if it works in X-Plane 12. Should I find myself with a A350 sized itch that I need to scratch, I can come in here and fly it. And if you're wondering, if you're kind of thinking of making the move across to X-Plane 12 and, you know, got your eye on an A350 and wondering what it's like, well, this video might give you some idea. That said, it's not a review and it's not a tutorial, and we're not going into depth, and it's also worth looking on the .org, the forums. Some pretty honest views there around it. Some people are pretty down on this aeroplane, but it is what it is, folks. And just for my own curiosity, the results of which I will share with you here, folks, I wondered what this thing's actually retailing for now, and 65 US, which is that's a decent amount of money, isn't it? I didn't pay 65 US for it. Like a lot of aeroplanes that I buy, particularly in X-Plane, I wait for sales. I can't be sure exactly what I paid, but it wasn't full price. I remember that. 65 bucks. What's the any-build one going for in US? Can't remember. And there's also this sound pack, which I have, and I think I've got it installed here. I think I've done it right, the installation process, but I can't be exactly sure. I know that back in the day it did make a difference to the sounds, a nice improvement. So, you know, assuming you want to get both of those, add those two numbers up. Starts to get up there, doesn't it? Okay. Let me just fire this up. Version history. Just want to make sure. So you do get the X-Plane 11 version as well. If those of you that are still flying X-Plane 11. Where are the versions? Versions are here. So it was last. What? That's not the case. So this page does not reflect the latest changes. 1.7 point something is what I'm running here. So don't let this fool you, folks. I don't know why it's not up to date. Reviews. Well, reviews from a while ago. The forum, which is this one up here, looks like this. Yeah, 1.7.05 is the version. I feel like I said 0.5 earlier. 0.05. Let's have a look at that. What did they do in that version? New version with M1 fixes. What's M1? A Mac thing, maybe. Minor update, working on version 2. That was January 10 of 2025. Yeah. There is something, if you do pick up this aeroplane, or if you already have it and are not aware of this, it's worth coming into this bit, the pinned post, docs, tutorials, guides, etc., and scrolling down to this one. April 15, 2023, a couple of years ago, there is a tutorial, which is a PDF file, which is this one here. One of the complaints levelled against this aeroplane, or this developer, is that this is quite a complex bird to fly, and the tutorials, or the documentation that comes with it, isn't really that helpful. So this is one example of a member of the community trying to address that. I've been sort of scrolling through it during the course of this flight, and it's quite handy, making up for, perhaps what the developer should have done. Anyway, folks, that's just some information about the A350. I will next see you a little bit later in our cruise segment, where I feel like a member of our cabin, PAX, or potentially crew member might need some medical attention, necessitating a diversion. Okay, so this was an unplanned segment. I've just noticed, I thought it might be worth sharing. We're getting pretty significant fluctuations in our autothrottle. Keep your eyes here, folks. I don't remember that when I flew this aeroplane in X-Plane 11. The auto throttle is chasing itself quite a bit here, trying to maintain 0.82 mark. I mean, the wind is, it's pretty steady, moving around a little bit, but you would hardly call that significant. Just notice in the last few minutes of flight, so we're moving between about 75% up to about 86%, and then it'll drop down. You can see it moving around. Now it will change a little bit during the course of a flight. You would expect that, but this is quite noticeable and unexpected. Obviously variations in sound. See it dropping there. Now it'll want to pick up again. It seems to be chasing. The actual throttles here aren't moving. They stay in the climb D10. Down to 71 now. It's quite a big margin. You can see the needles here. Just thought I'd share, folks. Hello, folks, from the flight deck. Your Capitan speaking. We're about 3 hours and 10 minutes or so into our flight high over the Australian outback. Everything going well-ish. I've got to tell you, having sat here for a little while now, listening to the auto throttle chase itself up and down, it does get rather annoying. So I mentioned it in a previous segment. The auto throttle is chasing itself through a range of, I don't know, 15 or so % up and down, and the corresponding change in sounds as well. In terms of aircraft functionality, like does it fly in X-Plane 12? Yes. We're still to see how it flies during the approach, and I'll try and disconnect the autopilot fairly early in the approach to give myself a sense for how well this thing handles. But yeah, it flies, it operates. It's just this auto throttle thing after a while does tend to annoy one. So I'm not sure that I'd want to be sitting at the controls here for a genuine long hauler. We've already done 3 hours. The original flight plan had us doing about 7.5. Yeah, I couldn't cop that. It would be almost a relief to get to have a reason to divert and to touch down sooner rather than later. Oh, what a surprise! That'd be the intercom coming from the cabin. Just let me pick it up, folks. Hello, flight deck.
Hello, Captain. It's Jonathan the Purser.
Ah, Jono. How's things, mate?
Things are not good. And I'm not your mate.
Oh, jeez. Here we go. So what's happening, my not friend?
We have a really bad smell in first class.
I didn't even know we had a first class, but okay. What sort of smell?
Like a really strong curry. It's burning my nostrils.
What? We're not even serving curry on this flight.
There's this woman who ate Indian in the terminal, and she's releasing gas.
Releasing gas? You mean she's farting?
This isn't farting. It's an environmental hazard. People are passing out.
Oh, okay. Okay, John, leave it with me. Look, at the end of the day, I didn't really feel like going to Vietnam anyway, so how about I make a captain's call and we divert to Darwin and get our offending packs offloaded.
What can I do in the meantime? We're suffocating here.
Yeah, well, Jono, how about you grab the portable oxygen and just, suck in the big ones. And just like that, folks, we are bound for Darwin. About an hour's, actually less than an hour from here. So we've adjusted our flight plan, chosen a new destination being Darwin. Yankee Papa Delta November. Runway 29, I'm going to fly an RNAV, which looks kind of like that. Expecting some nice weather, if a little warm, in Darwin. Now let's sort out our performance. Our approach is there. So the wind in Darwin is currently 300 at 7 knots. The temperature is a beautiful 33 degrees. And the QNH is 1006. Plug that in. We can't click that. We have to go Barrow, do we? Alright. Let's pull a number out of our arse. 478 on Barrow. That's the minimum. Why not? So we've got an approach speed of 148. Okay, can handle that. 143 landing, VREF 148. Okay, we can do that. Yep, alright. So it'll be a full config. We've done the weather. We've done this bit up here. Sure, we've done that. Barrow ref pre... Oh, we'll worry about that. We've still got a long way to go. Worry about that closer. Yeah, 285 nautical miles. Jeez, I thought we'd be closer than that. Anyway, Darwin has been selected, folks. I'll see you for the concluding stages. We'll see how this thing flies during an approach. Alrighty, concluding stages, folks, down through 3.5. Got 3,000 plugged in. We'll take over from Georgia, I think, at this point. Why not? Autopilot off. We'll leave the auto throttle on. One of these ones. Got to press. That's right. Slowed down to about 190 knots. My controls, Georgie. You've done a stellar job, mate. All right. I'm gonna land into the setting sun here quite late in the day. About 4 hours worth of flying all up. Just a tad over 4 hours by the time we touch down. So we should be about 3,000 feet here, above 3,000 according to the ND. We're going to be slightly below that. I won't tell if you don't, folks. The aircraft has handled the descent quite well, nailing all of the constraints. Or at least it did before I took over manually. I think there's quite a high pitch angle here to maintain that rate of descent. Slowing ourselves down to 180 knots. Right, we're slightly. Thank you, mate. We're slightly below the glide. Yeah, flaps 1. We might take gear and take flaps 2. Oh, listen to those sounds. Woo. And meaty gear sounds. Runway inside. If you squint hard, folks, put your sunglasses on and squint. You'll see it. Right there, it is. Looks like we've got reds and whites at the moment, so that's okay. Bird is slowing itself down. Feels very heavy on the controls, is what I will say. But that may be a symptom of what I've been flying lately. I've been much lighter on the controls. Flaps 3. I'm going to do our landing. Check the list before too much longer. Yeah, whites and reds, all good from this point. A little challenging on the eyes, bit of eye strain as we come in here. That light, but overall a very nice sight picture. And full flaps at 1500. We'll run the landing checklist, I think. Flaps are set, gear is down. fingers have been crossed for the last 4 hours, and our sphincter is tight. Whites and reds, we're good. The wind has shifted around to a northerly, light crosswind by the looks of it.
1,000.
Thank you, sir. Now, it has literally been years since I have landed an A350, folks. Just setting the expectation early. There's some lights kicking in, righto. I don't want to get too high here. Don't over control it either, mate. All good. Coming up to minimums.
500. 400.
He's done it right here.
300.
Runway 29 Darwin, folks.
200. 100. 50. 40. 30. Retard. 10. 5.
Oh, we'll take that into reverse. Centerline pride, reverse brakies happening. Look, I'll take that after a couple of years out of the A350 saddle, folks. Welcome to Darwin, and thank you, folks, for your company in another video. It is very much appreciated. Until we next meet, you stay well, enjoy your simming, and bye for now.